Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another Loki review. I figured I'd try and get this done so I can then move on to the Bad Batch and My Hero Academia reviews that I am behind on. But yeah. So anyway, yes, the fourth episode of Loki, and it's titled Nexus Event, in which this let's see, but anyway, beginning of the episode, it sort of begins in a sort of back in the let's see, a sort of flashback, if you will, of like, let's see, the hunters from the TVA capturing the young Sylvie, or female Loki, for crimes against the sacred timeline, even though she's just a little girl playing with this, her toys and all that stuff, and her timeline is erased and all that stuff. She's taken as a prisoner as she sees what they're doing to one of the other variants. And just as she's about to be trialed, she manages to snatch one of the time pads off of Ravonna Renslayer, who I must make clear, I've accidentally been calling her Miss Minutes, I think, in episode 2, I believe. So my mistakes on that. So she takes it and escapes, and she's been on her journey ever since. So, yeah. Showing us just how she ended up being the way she is and all that stuff. And also going on to explain why she doesn't really remember her family, like she mentioned last episode. Anyway, we cut back to the present where, let's see, it seems like the TVA, have managed to finally get on the situation handled with what the, Sylvie did, 2 episodes ago, and causing like those time variant, timelines and all that stuff, in which they've managed to sort it out from the looks of things. And now trying to find the 2 Lokis and all that stuff. As what the Sylvia did there was just mostly just a distraction so she get to the TVA, though I think that was obvious last episode. To, get the timekeepers. Anyway, Mobius is asking about Hunter C20, but she claims that C20 has died from a mental breakdown, and tells them that to keep it between the 2 of them. Mobius is a bit doubtful from what I can tell, though. Though, funny enough, Hunter B20 ends up asking about it, and he tells her what she said, and it looks like B20 is a bit more emotional than her previous 2 appearances and all that stuff. Anyway, back to 2077, amidst the destruction of Lamentus 1. The 2 Lokis are talking and all that stuff, and apologizing to each other. And with Sylvie opening up about how, she was taken as a child by the TVA and been on the run every time. And with Loki, just encouraged, we've heard that some to wonder if just Lokis are just destined to lose, while Loki says they're destined to survive. And the 2 start creating some sort of connection, which I'll get to more on later. But it creates a new branch timeline Nexus event, allowing the TVA to, find the 2, rescue them, but of course also arresting them. And they're both taken to the TVA headquarters, where the 2 eventually get separated, with Mobius no longer putting up with Loki and all that stuff. And a funny moment where Loki's like, okay, how come she gets more security? Kind of thing. So, yeah. But anyway, Mobius decides that, after calling Loki an a-hole, decides to throw him in a sort of time loop, thing as a means of, torture and punishment. But it's revealed that he's putting him, Loki, in a really time loop of him being beaten by Sif before, due to the fact that, Loki pulled a prank on Sif revolving her hair, I think cutting it off and all that stuff, with Sif and then punching him. Well, Loki thinks he's able to relax in the bath afterwards, but nope, he's just continuously getting punched no matter what he does, by saying, this is just a time loop. She's not believing it and stuff, so she just completely punches him. Anyway, with eventually, let's see. So eventually, let's see. Loki finally anyway, Morbius is insisting that let's see. Ravonna Renslayer. Let's see. Just lets him talk to female Loki, but she wants her to let's see. Let's see. Interrogate the Loki he's more familiar with because he doesn't want whatever the female Loki did to C20. Let's see. That the same thing happening to him and all that stuff, and reveals that more about how she suffered a mental breakdown, and some of the stuff that happened with the mental breakdown. I think, though, maybe not too much, and the fact that they had to put her out because, well, she was suffering a mental breakdown and all that stuff. Anyway. Eventually, Loki, during the whole time loop thing, ends up apologizing to Civ, and that admits everything, that he's just an attention seeking and all that stuff. He doesn't want to be alone and stuff, which eventually gets Civ to stop punching him, but says that you're right, Loki, you'll always be alone, which is damn harsh. Which also probably shows what Sif actually thinks of Loki. Let's see, but no, even if it's just a time loop. Eventually, Mobius comes in and tries to interrogate Loki. With Loki trying to, with Mobius asking how long those two have been working together, with Loki trying to make some lies and all that stuff, saying that he's behind everything and that they were just planning it, and he was just using her and all that stuff. And says he'll dispose of her later and all that stuff. However, Mobius ends up telling a fib about how they've already terminated her, or pruned her, if you will, which, despite Loki trying to hide it, is visibly disturbed by us, with Mobius feeling that Loki is in love with Sylvia and calls him a bit of a narcissist for falling in love with Sylvia, which Loki, of course, denies. Eventually, the two argue a bit about this before Loki finally reveals to Mobius that all of the TVA are time variants, though he remains skeptical and leaves him to his prison of being constantly beaten by Civ. Meanwhile, Hunter B15, has become a lot more distraught after the experience with Sylvia and all that stuff. Eventually decides to enter the prison room of Sylvia, asking the guards to let her in on that stuff. And eventually, she takes Sylvia to 2015's Alabama, and asks more about the memory, what she experienced when Sylvia enchanted her. Anyway, she reveals that those are the memories of her previous life before the TVA, and that she's a variant. She is first doubtful, but then allows her to explore the memories, and as we see her experiencing the emotions of her life, she cries down and all that stuff about how she used to have quite a happy life before the TVA. And she learns that she is a variant and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Mobius and Ravonna are celebrating a job well done, with Ravonna feeling that Mobius is her favorite time TVA agent and all that stuff, if you will. Though she does ask, Mobius, what if he could go anywhere in time, where would he be? Mobius doesn't have an answer except for maybe staying where he is right now with Ravonna, possibly causing some sort of romantic tension between the two. Ravonna reveals that the two Loki variants will be I'm trying to remember, pruned in front of the timekeepers, and Mobius is allowed to see it and all that. So with Mobius being happy and all that stuff, that he finally gets to meet the timekeepers. However, due to conversation he had with Loki still has his doubts and all that stuff, so he tricks Ravonna to put her the latest souvenir on the wall while he swaps his time pad thing with hers. And after a drink or two, says that I'm gonna rest because it makes an excuse about how the Lokis have given him quite the headache. So he leaves, and once he's finally alone, I think in the library, he ends up looking at the recording of the interrogation, of the interviewing of like C20's mental breakdown, where she talks about how she felt like she had another life and all that stuff with friends and all that stuff before Ravonna turns it off, and probably just about to terminate her. With this, Chrissy for Morbius now is pretty much confirmed that now believes that what Loki says is true about the TVA, everyone in the TVA being variants. So as Loki's continuing to be repeatedly beaten up by Civ, Mobius comes in and then ends up revealing that Loki, he believes in what he's saying, and the fact that they now need to go save Sylvia and all that stuff, possibly with their whatever that romantic connection the two have, could possibly crumble the whole TVA. With the two finally making amends and being friends again, as you will. Just they escape, however, just as they enter the Loki's prison cell thing. It's a sort of teleported to like a time loop thing with this red thing. However, Renslayer and a few of the TVA's Minutemen are outside, waiting for him. Mobius at first tries to make it low. Oh, he's just getting the Loki for the interrogation. However, Renslayer knows that he has her time pad, with Mobius acknowledging that, I took in all that stuff, and that if he could go to answer her question from earlier, he'd go back to the time and where he had his life and possibly had his jet ski and all that stuff. And Fritzy finally confirming that, he believes what Loki is saying. However, Renslayer orders the Minutemen to prune him, and it looks like Mobius is now dead. Much to Loki's distraught, as he and the female Loki are now being taken to the timekeepers. Though I will admit, Renslayer seems to be pretty torn up about having to order Mobius's execution and all that stuff. Anyway, as the two Lokis are taken towards the timekeepers, we finally meet them. And they look as alien as you expect. With and all that stuff. As they declare the Loki's execution, with the Loki's trying to. Before that, Sylvia is trying to ask Renslayer what was her crime to begin with, but she doesn't really. Though she claims she doesn't remember. Anyway, during the trial, the Lokis call out the timekeepers for their control of the universe and all that stuff. As they're about to be executed, B Hunter 15. I probably should have mentioned that. Renslayer realized that B Hunter 15 has been compromised, so she tries to order the other TVAs to find her and prune her. However, she's managed to arrive into the timekeepers' whereabouts, and passes the Sylvia her sword or long dagger or machete, if you will. Weapon, and the two Lokis and her end up fighting. Renslayer and the TVA agents there, with eventually B Hunter 15 being knocked out. And you get some cool moves like this female Loki. Sylvia passing the blade to Loki as he kills his opponents, while she confiscates one of the TVA's weapons from the others and started killing the others with them. No, not with the pruning thing, if you will. More like the knife edge at the end. Eventually, Sylvia knocks out Renslayer. And then let's see, Loki passes the blade back to Sylvia as the timekeepers mock them. She begins to behead one of the timekeepers, only to learn that just as one of them's cut off, the other two deactivate, revealing them to be androids and revealing that they're not actually the ones in charge of the TVA and all that stuff, and that there's actually a bigger mastermind in hiding all that stuff. With Sylvia now beginning to be distraught as she's planned all this time to try and find the timekeepers, but she has no idea what to do now. Loki tries to encourage her and appears to try to confess his feelings with Renslayer is revealed to have recovered and prunes Loki from behind his back, seemingly erasing him from the timeline and all that stuff and killing him, which angers Sylvia and which ends up overpowering Renslayer, demanding to know everything she knows as before the episode ends, post the mid-credits, it's revealed that Loki is in fact alive and is awoken in a new post-apocalyptic what appears to be a post-apocalyptic New York, where there are other variants of him which are dubbed Classic Loki, which appears to be an old guy in a gritty original Loki comic book suit. A Kid Loki, a version of him that's a kid from the looks of things. Boastful Loki, apparently appears to be an African version of Loki, though looks a bit more like Thor. Looks like he's trying to dress up as some form of Thor, given the fact he has this golden hammer and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm not really sure how to describe. I've described this Loki, really, but when in Kid Loki, it appears to be a reptile Loki, or which pretty much looks like a crocodile or an alligator. I'm not really sure. And that ends the episode on that bizarre cliffhanger. Boy, what episode! Where to begin? Let's see. First off, I like the fact that we ended up seeing the flashback of the Kid Loki and how, learning on why she doesn't seem to the fact that the reason she doesn't remember her family much is because she was taken as a child by none other than Renslayer, and her entire timeline has been erased. So whatever happy family life she could have had, or whatever life she could have had as a female Loki could have, whatever the possibilities, was erased from the timeline. And and she's taken prisoner, but using her quick wit, she's managed to steal the time pen and stuff and escape, leading to the course of events that have led for her entire life as she reveals to Loki how she's just been escaping from one point of time to another before finally always being hunted by the TVA before she could always survive in an apocalypse. Which, of course, that's my late midnight. That's my late alarm. I probably should have turned that off. Sorry. Anyway. So we end up learning about her motivations and her life, about why she's been trying to take down the TVA for so long. I do actually like the bonding moments between the two Lokis at the beginning, where she wonders if Lokis are just destined to lose, while Loki goes Loki survive, not lose, and they may lose and sometimes painfully, but they always survive. And this causes a bonding moment between the two that causes apparently a romantic connection between the two. Was Mobius describes it later, a narcissistic relationship. Oh, Loki, you fall in love with yourself, which is kind of messed up, as you will. I'm not sure if this counts as incest, though. For those who always wondered how the Game of Thrones romance was kind of mucked up, It's probably definitely mucked up with a. This probably is a whole new level, maybe. I don't know. It's weird because a relationship with yourself can never really happen, really, in real life. But yeah, but it's interesting. Let's see, but yeah, you can see how much Loki seems to have come to care for this Sylvia over like the course of like the adventures he had with her last episode, where he tries to always address. He always makes it that Mobius and others address her as Sylvia, not as female Loki or variant and all that stuff. Despite trying to pretend to not care for her, becomes physically distraught when he thinks that she's dead, and denies her feelings and stuff. Though at the very end, it looks like he's trying to confess. Though whether or not those two, no, that will happen. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I do like how. For Mobius for this episode, we get a bit more. We learn a bit more of the bond he has with Renslayer as she reveals that he is his favorite TVA Minutemen, time agent, as you will, time hunter, blah 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 blah. During the office chat stuff, and tries the best to try and keep him out from like discovering the secrets and all that stuff. Particularly sort of lying about Hunter 20 having a nervous breakdown and all that stuff. I do like and all that stuff. So I do like how he and she's very visibly distraught, and she's very upset at the fact that he has to prune him in the end. But we'll get to that more a bit later. I do like how Morbius, due to thinking that his Loki has betrayed him and all that stuff, is no longer trusting of him and starts mocking him and all that stuff. I do like how Loki says, how come she gets more gods than me, kind of thing, and him telling him to be quiet, and then just makes fun of this. He just goes on about how he's an a-hole, a narcissist that's in love with him, with a variant of himself and all that stuff, and just seems to have enough. But yeah. However, Loki, when Loki finally starts being open and honest, about the whole everyone in the TVA is a variant, he remains distrustful of his words, but does start to doubt and to try to confirm it for himself, and admits that Loki's right and all that stuff, and tries to help him and Sylvia escape to try and cause the destruction of TVA. Unfortunately, Renslayer was a step ahead of him as she realized what he stole her time pad thing. But he tries to do a bit of a speech about how he wants to go back to his own time and stuff. Sounding like, okay, he's actually rebelling. And it looks like he's dead, though, as the post-credits scene revealed with Loki. In the mid-credits, he might still be alive, so we probably haven't seen the end of him just yet, though. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, I liked that. Let's see what else is there to talk about. Oh yes, Hunter B20. I quite like that we get glimpses of her starting to emotionally break down. It show a lot more different emotions than her cold, no nonsense cop routine. As due to what Sylvia did to her, she starts to experience memories. As Hunter 20 did. Tries to ask Mobius about it, but he lies because he's still following Renslayer's orders at the moment. So she eventually just decides to go, okay, I'm using my rank to go in and take Sylvia to a different time, back to the apocalypse thing, and making it look like she's Sylvia thinking that, okay, we're having a rematch here in a fair fight. However, she reveals that, and she just wants to know what are those memories. And while a bit skeptical at first, I do like let's see how we see her emotions of learning about her past once Sylvia shows her memories. Though I am disappointed that we don't actually get to see this life that she was so happy about. Let's see, was she a mother? Did she have a very good job? Was she? Let's see, did she have friends and stuff? What was going on in her life and all that stuff that made her so happy and all that stuff? So unfortunately, we don't see that. I felt like that might have made us connect a bit better. Kind of like with C20, who's probably now dead. All that stuff. And I like how she eventually helps the two Lokis escape, and then let's see, to like take down the timekeepers. Though I remember this, though she ends up getting knocked out. Though I suppose on the bright side, let's see, since she's not been incinerated, we still have her with the Sylvia, and they're probably going to work together for a bit when interrogating Renslayer next episode. Before going to this Renslayer, I want to talk about. I like the fact that we finally get the return of Sif after so many years, not since I believe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really technically, if that's still canon or not. I think it's still canon and all that stuff, but yeah. But for most people who haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she hasn't been seen since For the Dark World. And she seems to have fallen out with I think with the Marvel Studios or something. I don't know why if she's been so long, but we didn't see in Thor Ragnarok. But here she's finally returned. Even though it's just a time loop. So this hopefully gives a bit more hope for Sif fans that she will return for possibly for Love and Thunder. Who knows? Now that Thor and Jane broke up off screen, perhaps there'll be a romance between Thor and Sif, because it's implied that she does like Thor in that way, I guess, in Thor and For the Dark World, but I think they're actually technically married in actual Norse mythology. Apparently, the whole haircutting thing might have actually happened in the Norse story. I'm not sure, because I know that the MCU has had quite a few tweaks to the Norse mythology, because I'm pretty certain Thor and Loki aren't actually brothers in actual Norse mythology. So there's that. No, it is a bit funny how Loki gets repeatedly punched, though. It is a bit, though, her words about how Loki, you're right, Loki, you always will be alone, is a bit harsh. So that might be why he's determined to try and, bond with Sylvia and all that stuff. But anyway, Renslayer, quite heartless in some regards, but yeah. It's interesting how she has quite the connection with Sylvia, as she's the one that took her from her timeline and erased it, and has been hunting her down to try and have her killed. It's interesting to learn that she was once a time hunter, though. I wonder if that means she had a hunter A30 or something. I don't know. Some random numbers before being given the name, Renslayer and all that stuff. But yeah. Let's see. I like how that she does reveal that she does care about Mobius, but she's really determined to keep secrets from him, particularly about C20, as he doesn't want her being Kim compromised. And when he does, she doesn't hesitate to order his termination or supposed termination. And is clearly distraught about it, because she did seem to care for Mobius. But he had to get rid of her and all that stuff, and doesn't hesitate to order B Hunter 15 from being, captured and all that stuff. Let's see, to make sure she's being terminated and all that stuff. And let's see, and she does quite the cliffhanger at the end by supposedly, killing Loki, which doesn't end up being the case. Though now she's a prisoner of Sylvia, who's clearly mad at what Renslayer did to Loki and all that stuff. Anyway, for the Timekeepers, I like their design and all that stuff, and I love the twist that their androids are not really behind everything. That I will admit, I found it a bit hard to understand them. Maybe because the tone of the tone of their voices. I mean, I had it at max. Maybe I should have made it lower, but perhaps I need to put on some subs so I can actually hear what they say next time. yeah, the interesting design and that stuff. And they look to and and their first appearance, it does look pretty good. It's pretty good how they made it so that let's see, tricky into thinking of let's see, good let's see introduction of how all powerful they are, but I don't let's see, but yeah, I'm very curious about the plot twist of them being let's see androids. Let's see, because it's like now we have like someone else who's a bigger mastermind, and it's leaving people to wonder who. If I had to guess, it might be Kang the Conqueror in some form, but who knows? For you know, it could be another version of Loki. That let's see, just causing like a steady timeline or not, like a steady timeline thing, is eliminating Loki, other Lokis because they're a threat to him and all that stuff. But who knows? That's just a theory on my end. But yeah. But anyway, the only thing left to say is I love the mid credits at the end with like let's see, post mid credits with like all the different kinds of Lokis you see there, like the kid Loki, the classic Loki, the boastful Loki, and the reptilian Loki. So I'm really curious about that crocodile one. Let's see how Loki turned into like an alligator or crocodile. And yeah. And I'm curious about, let's see, the boastful Loki or the black Loki, if you will. Though, let's see, that looks like he's kind of cosplaying as a, let's see, as a Thor with like, though granted not in the same designs that you've ever seen Thor in the MCU. A bit more, I guess, Norse-like, I guess you could say. But yeah, and the kid Loki and stuff, and telling them to come with him, hit them if Loki wants to live. So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, Loki has been pretty good with these cliffhangers. Let's see, saying that. Let's see, the first one being like they want Loki. Let's see, Morbius wants Loki to help him find a variant of himself. The female, let's see, the variant being a female Loki in the end of last episode, and Loki going after her. Let's see, the ship being destroyed. That was probably the weakest one. But this one, like, it does a pretty good job of like making you think Mobius and Loki are dead for a minute or so until like the mid-credit scenes with more of a cliffhanger of like, oh, look at these other Lokis and they're in New York and all that stuff. So yeah, very good. Let's see, episode. Overall, I'll give this one a 9 out of 10, maybe a 9.5. Let's see, I like learning more about Sylvia's past and her adversary with a Renslayer who claims that doesn't know anything about why she was arrested or why she was taken in the first place and why her time was drawn in the first place. So who knows? We'll probably find out the answer later on with the truth about the TVA and all that stuff. I like Mobius. Let's see the bonding between Mobius and Renslayer, though with and then Mobius with Loki and all that stuff, and let's see him being hostile, but then being more positive once he like discovers the truth about the variants and all that stuff. So I like how he seems to finally rebel against the TV, though it seems it'll be cut short for a bit. I like the twists with like the TVA, and well, there's some things I'm not really sure about, such as like I didn't really quite understand the timekeepers' voices, even though they're maybe because they're androids and all that stuff. So it's supposed to be a bit ominous and all that stuff. I wish we saw like the memories of B-15. And I'm not sure how the internet has reacted to the romantic relationship between Loki and Sylvia. It's like, ew, is this some sort of incest? Or, oh, this is so romantic. Or, no, Loki needs to get with a dude now that we know that he's bisexual and all that stuff. But I don't know. That's probably going to be there's probably going to be a lot of ship wars now. Let's see with Loki, but who knows? I'm not sure. But yeah, overall, I like the episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. It's run back down to the average time of a Loki episode. Because last week was the shortest, but now it's back to around the 50-minute stuff, though it was technically 45 minutes and all that stuff. Well, 49 if you count the credits. Overall, I'm Blue Star Saber, signing off. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to discussing the 5th episode of Loki soon.